Imagine you can smoke weed and get superpowers.
Bruh. This is Movie Night with the Boys. Hi, welcome to Movie Night with the Boys. I'm John,
And I'm Zach.
and we're a weekly podcast where we talk about movies. And this week, we are talking about Project Power from 2020. And I'm going to take this time to tell you a little bit about it. So, the movie was directed by Ariel Shulman and Henry Joost.
Who
I
the
hope I said
fuck
that
is
right.
that?
I don't know. I have I have no idea. I don't even know if I said the last name right, but I hope I did because we'll get there. Um, so it was starring Jamie Foxx as Art. If you don't know the name Jamie Foxx, it's pretty synonymous with Electro from Spider-Man: No Way Home now, and the movie Ray, where he played Ray Charles in a pretty solid film. Um, Dominique Fishback played Robin. She's known for Judas and the Black Messiah. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, everyone's favorite babyface. He played Frank. He was the Dark Knight. He was Robin in that. Don John and Angels in the Outfield.
Looper. You forgot Looper.
Oh, I did forget Looper, which was one of my favorite movies with him in it. So the synopsis. A former soldier and a cop team up to find the source of a dangerous pill that gives the user a random superpower that only lasts for 5 minutes. With all that out of the way, Zach, why don't you tell us about it?
The movie starts with a cargo ship pulling into port and unloading. We cut to a group of dealers and we meet Newt and an unknown man giving them a drug called power for free. Then we cut to the title card.
Can I just say, a free drug? That doesn't scream sketchy to anybody. Like
Well,
nobody's
they did question it. They were like, "Well, you know what I mean? Like what
what's in it for you?
yeah, like what's the catch?"
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, yes, you have to be skeptical. You're an idiot if you're not, like and especially too is like it's free, so you can sell it for whatever, and that's 100% profit.
Uh-huh. Yep.
From the title card, we get like this kind of like map thing, and we hear people calling in and they're calling in and complaining about people using powers. And then we zoom in and we see Robin. She's looking at a pill and she's busting a little freestyle,
You got some
right?
skills, that girl too.
Yeah, she's pretty good. So then she gets interrupted by two guys. They're out there trying to buy power, which again is the drug. So she pops out of her little secret hideout. She tells them the price. She says $500. They're like, nah, fuck that. A third guy comes up from behind and he's like, yo, run that shit, right?
She
So he
she got some
grabs.
balls too. You got to give her credit. Like she was there. She was there. Like she wasn't backing down. Like I would have been probably shitting myself if I had three dudes on me, and I'm a big guy. You know
I
what I
mean, if you're,
mean?
but it's a different mentality too when you're a drug dealer, right?
I guess I no idea.
Well, think about it, right? That's not your product. That's probably
True.
the price. That's probably the price she was given. So think about it. She's gonna have to pay somebody else back. So say, you know what I mean? The guy, her cousin gave it to her for 400. She's making
Yeah.
$100 per pill. Now she gets robbed. Now she's out $1,200. You feel me? So
Yeah. Yeah. Damn. That. Yeah. I
yeah,
guess you got to be hard. You got to be hard.
yeah, you're gonna fight for it. You know what I mean? So they grab her, they scuffle for a little bit, and then we get introduced to Frank, who's a cop, and he rolls up on them. He actually arrests Robin. Well, he puts cuffs on her. He tells the other dudes to like bounce. He's like, "Yo, get out of here, or I'll fuck you up."
Tough guy, motherfucker.
Yeah, he busted out some line from. Do you remember what movie they were talking about?
What's a Clint Eastwood movie?
Yeah. No, that's all I think that's all they said. They said, "Oh yeah, you did that Clint Eastwood shit."
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So the guys run off, and then Frank, he's kind of talking with Robin, and we learn that, they're friends, kind of. I guess
And
she's his dealer, right?
yeah, like, such a weird relationship.
Yeah. I mean, it's like what he said. He's like, I'm just trying to even out the playing field,
Yeah,
right?
but then he hands her a motorcycle
Yeah, that he basically just took from.
from the impound. Like, nah, no one's gonna miss it.
Right? So basically, yeah, he gives her the motorcycle. They jump on it, and she drives him home. Like, is that not kind of
That's
weird too,
a
though?
little
Like,
backwards.
that's fair. That's fair. I mean, at least now you don't have to. I don't have to do that shit anymore. Now they bring it to my house,
Yeah,
and it's legal, so it's all
yeah,
good.
yeah. Same here. And we're not talking about something that's gonna give us superpowers.
I wish. So we get a scene of her riding the motorcycle back through the city to her house. She climbs in through the window, kind of passes out, I guess, or she puts her cash away and then kind of just falls
It's the
back
bed.
onto the bed. Yeah. So we cut to a bridge and we see a old shitty pickup, and this is where we get introduced to Art, and he's driving listening to the radio. There's some more, people calling in about stories about people with power. And then we see Art, he's holding a note, and it has like Newt's name written on it with an address.
Yep.
So then he pulls up, I guess, to wherever Newt is, or where he's looking for him, and he goes and he knocks on this door, and we see Newt answer the door, and he's pointing a gun, and he's like, "Who the fuck are you?" Right? And Art's like, "I'm the major." Right? He's like, "Call so and so, and ask about me." Right?
Yeah.
So Newt goes to close the door, but Art kind of sticks his foot in, and I don't know how Newt didn't realize that this happened. Like what the fuck?
He would. I don't know. Maybe he just didn't catch it. Who knows? Maybe he wasn't paying attention anymore.
Yeah, I mean, right, but so also too, while Newt's sticking the gun out like the door, you kind of see his like a little bit of his face, and you see his face is kind of fucked up,
Yeah.
right?
Which it wasn't earlier.
No, yeah, he was perfectly fine earlier. So yeah, his face is all fucked up now, and well, half of his face. And so then Jamie Foxx does some cool trick with like rope,
I think it's like
unlocks the
shoestring or something.
yeah, something like that, some kind of yeah, something like that. And yeah, he unlocks the door, which I was like, oh shit, that works. Keep that, keep that in mind,
So put that in the memory banks for a later use.
right? So he gets in the house and he's looking around, and we randomly see an alligator on the floor. Like, were you not like, what the fuck is that? Like, bro, you got an
Is this movie
alligator?
taking
I
place
thought
in
your name was
Florida?
Newt. I thought your name was Newt, right?
I've got my evolved form here in the bathroom.
The movie does take place in a like futuristic New Orleans.
So
So
I
I
guess
mean,
it's
the
feasible that he would have
alligator
an alligator down there.
kind of makes sense, but like why would you have it just randomly in your bathroom? I don't
Especially if
know.
you've got fucking powers.
Yeah, what happens if you like totally forget about the alligator? You got to go take a shit,
Oh,
and you
I know what it is. He's saving it for a meal.
as Art's going through the house, he finally comes across Newt, and Newt's kind of like going through a whole bin of cell phones, like throwaway phones, I guess.
Yeah, I would
And
assume burners, right? Yeah.
yeah, and Jamie Foxx pulls out a shotgun and says, "Don't move," right? And you get a panel of a gun on a table. Obviously, he goes and he tries to grab the gun.
It shoots the
Or
gun.
yeah, Art blasts the gun away. Newt takes off, right? And it was a little odd, but I think he was missing on purpose. But like at the same time, he missed like he had that stormtrooper type accuracy there.
I think he was missing on purpose. He was trying to get information from him the whole time. He didn't want him to be dead.
That's true, right? So Newt locks himself in a bathroom, and we see him pop a pill, right? And we see his ability is to like basically set himself on
Spontaneously
fire.
combust.
Yeah, right. The one thing I do enjoy about this movie is that the powers come from like animal like mutations essentially, right?
Yeah, that was a cool detail.
I did enjoy that. So I'm not too sure what things like combust like that, but there's plenty of stuff that does do like animals that do that I know can do sort like things like that.
Yeah. I wonder if they mentioned it later on in passing.
They don't mention what his flaming powers are. They don't really explain anybody else's either. There's only one person whose powers get explained.
Arts.
Exactly.
Oops. Spoiler!
So he starts chasing Art. Art takes off, barely gets away, and then we see Newt starting to like burn out, I guess, and he goes and pops 3 more pills.
Crazy. Fucking crazy.
Yeah, so then he continues to go after Art, and Art's kind of tricks him. He hides in this bathroom, fills up the bathtub with water, soaks his jacket, and then tackles him into the tub and just starts pummeling him and drowning him, trying to get the information out of him.
Yeah. Smart fucking move.
Oh yeah, well I mean he's got those military tactics, right?
Yeah, you're right, you're right. I gotta say, Newt looked fucking crazy.
What do
He
you mean?
looked like how he was all burnt.
Oh yeah, that
He
shit looked
looked
yeah.
crazy.
That was some decent CGI. I'll give him that. I'll give him that. So Newt finally tells him, he says Biggie, and then we see Newt start to, I don't know, about to explode. So Jamie Foxx or Art, he goes
Overdose.
and yeah, goes and takes off, and then you just see a big explosion kind of go off,
Yeah.
right? So Art gets knocked away, and he's kind of in this random daze, and we see this kind of flashback of some kid getting pulled out of a car, right? Then he kind of wakes up, and then he just bounces, just leaves like nothing happened.
That's the I assume the military training in him just kind of made him hard to it.
Yeah, right. And then yeah, he just walks out and leaves. So we cut back to Robin and her mom waking her up, and we see a report about a fire in Newt's apartment.
Yeah.
She heads to school. We cut to Art, and he's at a gas station, kind of patching himself up, right? And before he left Newt's place, he did grab his cell phone. So we cut back to Robin, and she's texting in class, and we see that she's texting Newt, and obviously Art is the one responding. So Art, I guess he's trying to figure out where the drugs are coming from. So then Robin's teacher kind of comes over and he starts giving her shit for texting. And basically he asks like, what are you going to do with your life if you don't pay attention in school? And then he makes her rap in front of the class, and if she kills it,
Yes,
like
she fucking does. Yes, she
yeah,
fucking does.
she can spit. She can spit.
She crushed
And
that dude. She absolutely fucking crushed him.
yeah, right. And we see the teacher's face. He is not happy about it whatsoever.
And then
But then yeah, we cut back and we see that it was just kind of like a daydream. She didn't do shit. She didn't get up and rap, right? And she gets sent to the office. We cut back to Frank, and he's at a bank robbery, and like all the police were actually told to stand down, right? I guess
mhm,
I don't know, the suits. The
the men in
suits are
black
gonna
showed up.
yeah, the suits are gonna take care of it. So we see Frank and he goes and he sneaks off, and we see him pop a pill. His powers are armadillo based, so his skin gets really tough and he
Yeah,
gets enhanced strength and I guess durability.
yeah,
So he starts the 5 minute countdown on his watch and he heads inside. We see the bank robber and he's kind of got, I guess, chameleon based powers because he's blending in with everything. So he's essentially invisible. But what I believe what it really is just his body is changing colors to his environment type thing.
chameleon.
It's
Yeah,
it's a lot more advanced than a chameleon, right? But I believe that's essentially what it's based off of. And so he goes and he takes off, And Frank is like, there he is, follow the bags. Like, I don't know, like to me, obviously to us, you could see him clearly, but in this world it looks like he's basically invisible to people, right?
Yeah,
Um
which I guess it makes sense. But the bags are still there.
yeah, so he doesn't have the ability to make other stuff invisible,
So, I mean, the
right?
bag should still be at least perceivable by some people, and it seems like not too many people noticed, especially on the bus.
That's true. That's true. So the thief takes off, he gets on a streetcar, he starts going through the money and basically the what is it?
Paint,
Is it
the paint,
it's ink. It's supposed to be ink. I don't know why it's pink.
ink
That
or
was
paint.
weird.
It's something like that. It messes up his face and gets him very noticeable.
Yeah, so basically a paint bomb goes off and he gets the paint all over his face and basically making him invisible. His powers seem to last for a long ass time too, right?
Yeah.
They seem like I don't know. I don't know
Well,
why.
unless he took a second pill while he was waiting against the wall, because he was clearly there for more than 5 minutes. Because we got the timer with Frank, and his timer was what, like seconds in the alleyway.
Basically.
Yeah, there was
Basically.
something funky about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
15 seconds in the
So
alleyway.
so he jumps off the streetcar and Frank sees him and then starts following like he's following the streetcar on a bicycle. So he chases the guy into this restaurant and he tackles him like through a window or a glass door. I don't know. He tackles him and there's broken glass everywhere. So the thief gets his gun and he shoots him in the head with it,
Point blank. Point blank.
point blank, and we see the kind of rippling effect, but the bullet bouncing off of his head, right? And he goes down. So he goes down for a couple seconds and he gets up and then he just proceeds to beat the living shit out of the thief,
Yeah, he
right?
beat the brakes
Until
off that guy.
until his commander comes in and tells him like stop,
Yeah,
don't do it. So we cut back to Art in the chicken spot and Robin finally shows up. She goes in and she's calling out for Newt and she's looking for him and she sits down and she waits. And at this point, I'm guessing Art kind of left at some point. So as she's leaving, she notices her bike tire is slashed. Her brand new bike tire slashed. What a waste. So she starts walking the bike away in the rain, and Art kind of rolls up on her, grabs her, locks her in the trunk of his or in the bed of his truck. So he drives for a bit. He stops. He interrogates her. Then we cut back to the mystery man and his boss, and they're meeting with some buyers. We cut back to Frank. He gets a text from Robin. We jump back to Art and Robin, and they get to the location of the re-up spot, and he sends her inside first. As they're inside the store, Art actually loses track of Robin, and
yeah.
she's led to the head of the operation and tells him about Art. The guy pops a pill, heads outside. Art finds him pretty quickly and proceeds to kill all of them.
He's a fucking beast.
So just before he finds Robin, he actually gets shot. Robin's inside the truck. She's freaking out. He survives and he comes in. He kills everybody. He goes into the office, which I guess was the trailer of a truck. So he finds some computers in the office. We learn that they're testing powers on the people, and basically they're done with New Orleans, so they're going to be moving out. So Robin takes off, and we see the guy who popped the pill earlier, and his powers are some kind of regeneration because we see him push the bullet out and his wounds close. He ends up catching up to Robin inside of the store, and right as he's about to kill her, when Art tackles him and ends up stabbing him and basically just holding the knife in his chest until his powers run out so he can't revive from it, I guess.
Yeah, he
It was
recognized the ability.
it was pretty badass. So then at this point, Art's all fucked up. He falls down. Robin takes this opportunity to try and bounce, and he calls out to her saying he needs her, and then he passes out. So we cut to him waking up, and we find out that he's in a vet clinic and Robin was patching him up. We cut to Frank, and he arrives at Robin's house where he sees the guys in suits questioning her mom. He ends up climbing in the window, and he does this little act thing where he's, I don't know, like it's his house or whatever, and he shoos off the guys in the suits.
Yeah.
And as they're leaving, he runs out and he kind of sticks a phone to the car so he can track it.
Yeah,
Then we
he does some Forrest Gump shit and runs down the alley. Tapes a phone to the back of the tire. That shit was hilarious.
so we cut back to Art and Robin, and we find out why she's dealing. Her mom is sick. She needs the money. Art mocks her for wanting to be a rapper, and shit talks her into rapping. And once again, she starts spitting, and she kills it.
Yeah.
Art's impressed, tells her that's her power. Like, she has the ability to reach people through her words. So we cut back to Frank. He's following the suits. Then we jump back to Art. He's trying to leave when Robin convinces him to bring her along. We learn a bit about the origins of the pill, and his daughter was born with natural powers, and that's why she was taken, so that they can create the drug from her, I don't know, genes, DNA, whatever you want to
Yeah, I think
call
it's
it.
the DNA. Yeah.
So then we get a cut to Frank. He's stuck in traffic. We get back to Art and Robin, and they're scoping out a nightclub. And Art steals some keys from some douchebag guy and throws the keys to Robin and says, "Here, for your bike." So now Robin has a dope ass, speed bike, which is pretty dope. So Art heads inside the nightclub, and we cut to the mystery man, and he's doing a demonstration of the pills, and he brings this chick inside this like glass-proof cell type of thing, and it's the chick with the douchebag with the motorcycle from earlier. While he's explaining to the buyers, we get a brief description of how the pills work, what they do, and this is where you find out that the pills are actually based off of like animal genetics and
Yeah.
stuff, right? So we get a few displays of a couple animals. We see a frog that can actually like break its bones and like stick them out of its skin and use them as weapons, like Wolverine.
Yeah, it was crazy. I didn't know that was a thing. I'd never even heard of that before.
Me neither. So we cut back to Frank, and he sees Robin, and he's confronting her, saying, "Why are you trying to help this guy? I'm here to take him down." We cut back to the buyers and the mystery man, and the chick pops a pill, and she gets these kind of like ice powers. So in the cell, they kind of turn up the heat, and they do this like, I don't know, demonstration of how her powers work. But the powers are quite useless because if it's cold, it's not hot, then she just dies. Very dumb. So at this point, Art ends up confronting the mystery man, and everybody starts pulling out their guns. Then the guys in suits show up. One guy pops a pill, and he just explodes. And
Random superpower.
and all hell breaks loose.
Really quick, before he confronted the dude, when he smashed that guy's face into the ice sculpture, or not his face, his chin,
Yeah, he stabbed a guy through the head.
that shit was delicious. Fucking made his blood go up through the dragon.
So we get this scene, and it's shot from like inside the cell, and we just see all hell breaking loose, people fucking getting shot, murdered through the glass, and the chick who had the pill, I guess somebody shot and damaged the cage. So she's like freaking out, and she's slowly freezing to death, and it's pretty brutal. Like you see her
Yeah, it was.
like getting stuck and then like ripping off body parts.
Fucking yeah, it was. That was
Yeah,
that was brutal shit.
right? So yeah, and Art basically kills everybody.
Yeah.
He's quite the badass. So he finally confronts the mystery man, and as he's doing that, Frank shows up, tells him to put his gun down, and kind of ruins the whole thing. So
Ugh.
so he distracts Art long enough for the mystery man to pop some pills, and he just starts to Hulk out. Bootleg Hulk, like Zaimatsu type, one big arm. So the two guys, they end up taking off and basically blowing up the building, killing the bootleg Hulk in the process. When they get outside, Frank arrests Art and takes him and is about to take him to the captain. So Robin spots the dude with the beard, one of the bad guys, and decides to follow him. So then we cut to Art and Frank in the car, and Frank kind of, you know, goes like, "Come on, man, like I'm not the bad guy." And I bet you what, he's like, "Watch this. You tell your captain this, he's going to tell you meet you somewhere else, set us up, kill you and take me away." So he basically convinces Frank to let him go, or well, he escapes, like Frank gets away and leaves Art in the car so that the bad guys can kind of capture him, which was the plan. And Frank goes to the shipping yard and he ends up catching up with Robin. Frank and Robin have this little back and forth, and we see Robin gives him an earbud, or maybe vice versa. I can't remember. And he goes to head inside. He puts a pill in his mouth, or he pops a pill, takes the pill, and he heads towards the gate. Her on the little earbud tells him, do the Clint Eastwood shit. And he tries it, and it seems like it convinces the security guard. So the security guard goes and heads back, I guess, to, I don't know, get verification to let him in.
Yeah.
So the security guards come back, and they end up just shooting him, and the earbud falls out. But he's okay because obviously his powers kept him alive.
Hmm.
He takes out the security guards. Then we cut to Art and the doctor who was the boss of the mystery man. And she explains that his daughter is the next step of human evolution. Robin ends up going and sneaking on board the ship and finds Frank in the security room and sees the guards moving Art. Frank and Robin make a plan, and Frank heads out. Robin is controlling the doors and cameras in the security room. She guides Frank to Art when she ends up locating Tracy, who is Art's daughter.
And she's I was gonna say she's really good at getting herself around there.
Well, I mean, she's a smart kid,
Yeah, yeah. That's what I mean.
but she's also lucky.
Yeah.
So Frank ends up having to fight some weird contortionist dude who can move his body very weirdly. I don't know what else to call
He's
that.
very flexible.
Yeah. So as those two guys are fighting, we got the beard, and he's coming through, and he's just punching doors down. I guess he pops a pill, and I guess he gets super strength.
Yeah.
So he's punching down doors. He's heading towards Robin. He finally gets to the door Robin's at, and Robin ends up dipping through some, I don't know, ventilation.
Classic move.
So then we see Frank, he pops another pill. Then we see Robin come out in the lab. Then we cut to Art, and he's all tied up to a chair. He ends up telling his guards what's the strongest thing in the animal kingdom.
He
And then
said
he
a
tells
bullet shrimp.
them the bullet shrimp is the strongest animal. He gives them all the explanations of what a bullet shrimp does, basically vaporize stuff, lots of pressure, yada yada. And he kind of shows off a pill in his mouth and pretends to pop the pill, and the guards like kind of freak out and let him go because they don't want to get evaporated. So as they release him, the beard shows up, and
Beard. It's a great nickname for him, by the way.
then Frank basically shows up, and the beard punches him into the wall essentially, very very quickly. But they end up quickly easily getting the upper hand on the beard, and they kill him, which I thought was kind
He dumps $2 in his chest.
basically. So we jump to Robin, and she finds Tracy. So we cut to the doctor. She's looking for them. She sets the ship to high alert. We cut back to Frank and Art, and they're reunited with the girls, and they hug. Then they head out, and we see a guy pop a pill, and he starts protruding his bones, just like the
Like
frog.
that frog.
Yep. And he goes and he attacks the group. So Art stays back, tells the rest of them to bounce. Robin gets separated from the group, and Art stays and fights the frog dude.
This is a pretty interesting fight too. He's like fucking Baraka.
So while Frank and Tracy, they end up getting split up from Robin, and they get to the escape pod, and then we see, I guess Frank's powers ran out, and he gets clipped. He gets shot in the side, and then Robin. We cut to Robin, and she's controlling the crane, and she ends up helping out Art, kind of saving him.
Yeah,
But then she gets captured. Like
of
she gets
course she does.
tackled. She gets fucking tackled, and it's kind of hilarious. So, and they use her to lure Art out, essentially.
Yeah, where he
He
basically right before that says he's about to pop that pill.
essentially. So Art heads out. He talks some shit to everybody. Then he pops his pill. And when he pops his pill, he basically vaporizes everybody.
Yeah, just about.
Everybody except for Robin. And then he dies. I guess he used too much energy or something, and he essentially dies. So then we see Tracy. She runs over and she ends up using her powers, and her powers are able to bring him back to life somehow.
He's
Don't
got
know
healing
what,
powers, I think is what the basic
but
is it.
I don't know what animal has that ability.
Well,
Don't
if she's the reason they exist, the powers I mean, I'm wondering if the work that they're doing is kind of splicing that with animals. Because it doesn't really ever give any clarity to it because all she has is that one power. Hers isn't a cycling power.
Oh, so her DNA could be what the catalyst is to infuse the animal abilities. That
Yeah.
makes sense. That makes sense. So they pick Art up, jump back into the escape pod, and get away. So we jump to the morning time and we learn everyone's plans for what's next. And Art tells Robin to check his trunk, and we see Art and Tracy drive off. We cut to Robin and we see Art left her a bunch of money for her and her mom. And then we get the credits. And that's
Woo!
Project Power.
Woo! Ah. Well, thank you, Zach. So, critics said this movie was a 61 out of 100. What do you think?
Um, I don't know. I'd probably give it closer to like an 80,
I think that's
right?
fair.
It wasn't terrible.
No, I totally agree. I think
It was
80 is a
good,
much more
but
reasonable number.
yeah, it was an interesting take. Like I do enjoy when they do like genetic stuff like this, use like
Yeah.
animal powers, that kind of
Gene
stuff.
manipulation, that's fun shit. And the
Yeah.
fact that they didn't just make it standard mutation, like these people weren't born that way, so to speak. Like their power is obviously genetically linked to them, but they don't know it until they try it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I like that. I thought that was cool. Definitely unique. So that brings us to the good, the bad,
The meh.
and so it was your movie. So you go first. What was your good?
Well, I think we were literally just touching on that. So my good is definitely the kind of the like what the powers are based off, like they try and link them to animals. I did enjoy that instead of just giving everybody like, oh, this guy has hard skin and that's just what it is. Like I enjoyed that they were like, I mean, they didn't say it in the movie, but like when I was doing my research on it, they said that his powers are based off of like an armadillo,
Yeah,
but I mean, the concept of an armadillo, but you would think like maybe a rhino would have been better, but
makes sense to
yeah.
me.
But yeah, so no, I do enjoy like that whole science-y aspect of it for sure. What about you?
Mine was similar. It is about the powers. I kind of like the way the powers took effect. Like anytime someone took a pill, for the most part, you would see their eyes change, or their blood change, or their skin change, and just the way that it personified itself through the visuals on screen. I was always really impressed with how it looked. It was like it wasn't horrible CG, like the eyes splitting for Homeboy that turned into the Abomination Hulk thingy. All that stuff, really cool, really cool. So that was my good.
Agreed. Agreed.
Um, and I'm gonna just say I didn't have a meh. So what was your meh?
So my meh would probably be I kind of wish Jamie Foxx powers like art. I wish his powers were kind of like more like the bullet shrimp, right? It shoots out like a blast. You know what I mean? It doesn't just explode like, you know what I mean? Like Vegeta's final explosion. It's, you know what I mean? Like it's like a shot, you know what I mean? Like have
Yeah,
you ever actually seen what a bullet shrimp does?
I had never even heard of one before this movie.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? It just shoots out, right? It doesn't explode like the way Jamie Foxx. So I kind of wish. So for me, the way Jamie Foxx, like I kind of wish he was able to like turn his hand into a gun and essentially just be like bang, 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 and just killed everybody. That would have been really cool. But
Been
all in
cool.
all, it was still really good. So so yeah, that's my meh.
All right, and what about your bad?
My bad is probably my bad is having Machine Gun Kelly in this movie.
There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it being your bad. I mean,
I mean, I don't know. I don't mind Machine Gun Kelly. I don't know why I said that, but I don't
he's
I don't
not an
have a
actor. He's not an actor.
no. But he keeps
He's
trying.
he does try. Listen, the only people who fail are those who give up.
I guess. But I think he should give up. Just,
Preach.
stick to your niche
Yeah,
music.
do what you're good at, bruv.
Yeah. So what about you?
There was some really cheesy dialogue in some spots that just kind of threw me out. I wrote because I'm awesome because there was a point in time where Joseph Gordon-Levitt said something and then he said because I'm awesome, and I was like, really? Like it just some of the cheesy shit that got said in the movie was like unnecessary, and it just meh, but not meh. It was unjustifiably meh, more bad for me. For me, but
So you have a meh and not a bad.
I guess I should phase it more towards the meh than the bad because yeah, I probably should have switched that around.
Okay. Okay. With that out of the way, what was your highlight scene?
So I actually had two that I liked, but I'm only going to go with one, and I think it was the more enjoyable of the two. It was the scene of the demonstration. From the moment Art spikes dude's face onto the ice sculpture, that scene was just ridiculous, and he just, like you said, he just fucked everybody up. He went through that place Punisher style, and when they were going through the inside of the tank with the cinematography, the way they were following him around, that shit was just really fucking cool. So yeah, that would be my highlight scene, the demonstration scene.
What was your other one? Because if you didn't say that one, then I was gonna say it. So what's the other
Um, my other one would have been the final usage of Art's power there, the bullet shrimp, despite it not being as desirably accurate as you would have liked. Because
It's
again,
not
I
even
don't know.
it's not even about like the accuracy. I just wish it was more viable, you know?
That's fair. But either way, that scene in particular, I thought it was really cool how he just kind of burst and just started fucking evaporating everybody. It was very visually enjoyable.
Okay. Okay.
And I presume you have at least one letdown, so lay it on me.
So my letdown scene would have to be when Frank is arresting Art and he's having this little back and forth with Robin and he's just not listening to Do you know what I mean? Like he just was, oh, my captain told me to do this. Like I'm a one-track mind, and and then it like turns around and he just so easily, just like, okay, I believe you. And it's like, so why didn't you believe the girl? So for me, my letdown scene was that whole scenario.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. That makes sense to me.
Yep.
Ah. Well, I guess that brings us to what we're doing next week, and that would be my call. So next week we're gonna do Game Over Man. I don't know what year that's from, but it stars Adam Devine, and you've told me it's the guys from Workaholics. I've never watched the show.
Yeah, it's the trio from Workaholics.
Yeah, I know
Um,
Adam Devine, but
I would have to say it's probably 2019. I mean, everything's 2019 until we actually do it. So
yeah,
we'll
that's
just
a
go with
safe
that.
number, I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah. So Game Over Man will be our next week's enjoyable or not enjoyable film.
It's enjoyable.
I thought it was fun, and I'll think it's fun this time around too. So with that out of the way, let's get a little social media time. So you guys can follow us, like us, subscribe to us, share us, review us, rate us. We'd love all of that. So you can find us on Instagram at MNWTB Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at MNWTBoys, on TikTok at MNWTB Pod, and on Facebook at facebook.com/MNWTBoysPod. Where else can we be found, Zach?
You can find us on YouTube at Movie Night with the Boys! Exclamation mark. And we are also starting a gaming channel, Gaming Night with the Boys. And we're just filming some content for that now. I mean, like I have a bunch of content, just got to edit it together, do all that jazz, and then we should be pumping out videos. We're also doing TV show reviews. That'll also be on the movie night section, right?
Yep.
And yeah. So yeah, that's where you can find us. Movie Night with the Boys.
Wherever you can hear podcasts, or the one main place you can see visual media.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Until we get our own Roku channel.
Yes. Well, Zach, as always, it has been real.
It has, John.
Deuces.
Deuces. Yeah. No, I mean, like I've gotten a ride home from my drug dealer. Like,
I know,
meet him
but he's
somewhere
the
and then-
cop, so it's like, Thank you all so much for listening to Movie Night with the Boys.